welcome to the Inner Game Coach Show. My name is Ann Zaprazny, and I'm excited to introduce our guest today, Dr. Harris.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
I am excited that you're here.
Me too.
So, when I looked at the agenda, I saw you had a lot of clinical and a lot of hands-on,
Yes.
right? And so, again, tell us why that hands-on is so important.
Yeah, we are really fortunate in the state of Pennsylvania that within this last year, we've seen our Practice Act be modernized. It was a huge effort with lobbyists, with our leadership in the state, and we were really fortunate to see that happen. Along with that, though, are now things that athletic trainers in Pennsylvania are now able to do that before the update it was not possible for them to perform in the state of Pennsylvania. And so as we approached this year for our convention, we felt it was really important that our members got the opportunity to hear a little bit about what those skills were and then also be able to get a chance to practice them. For some of our members, they maybe were taught these skills when they were going through their education programs, and maybe practiced them then, but as long as they've worked in Pennsylvania, they haven't been able to actually perform them. Some of our members maybe were never taught some of these techniques either. So we felt it was really important with this modernization to offer our members the opportunity to come in and actually practice these skills. So we have our big day Friday. We had an awesome lecture last night and some social events. Today is really our big kind of big day. And so we have some lecture in the morning for each of these topics. So we have some experts talking about the update to the Practice Act. Some other examples, we have wound debris, rectal thermometry, treating diabetic patients with needle sticks. And so what we're going to do is have platform presentations this morning, a little break for lunch. And then this afternoon, we're really excited. We have 4 labs that members will be able to go to. We're going to offer 5. Members will pick 4 and actually be able to go to for an hour, learn from an expert, practice these skills. So whether they learned them previously, they can refresh. Whether they've never learned them, they can actually ask some questions and now be able to perform these really gold standard treatments in the state of Pennsylvania.
Nice. What a fabulous opportunity.
It is. We're really excited about it.
Yeah, so I want to pivot a little bit and just ask, if there was one thing you wish more people knew about athletic training and your profession, what would that one thing be?
I think that this would probably be an answer you hear from a lot of individuals, especially leadership in PATS. But I think, athletic trainers can be so much more than what we often get advertised as, or maybe what we're more commonly known for, which is maybe more sideline, secondary school, sitting at an athletic event. Athletic trainers are healthcare professionals, right? We have the ability to, in the state of Pennsylvania now, help active individuals. And it's really important, I think, that we are seen less from that athletic model and a little bit more from the medical model. And so I think that's the biggest thing that gets missed is really seeing the well-roundedness of athletic trainers and what we can do rather than just associating it with a sporting event.
Yeah, I love that, right? We're healthcare providers.
Exactly.
I love that.
Yeah. And I think that that's something that, friends and family of mine that are not athletic trainers, when I explain what, I do have to spend some time kind of explaining what an athletic trainer is because they hear the term athletic trainer and they might have had an experience with an athletic trainer, would be great, maybe not. But even if they had, it was probably in a more traditional setting. And so kind of opening their eyes a little bit more to the totality of what that means for athletic trainers, I think is both important and something I would love for more people to ask questions about and know.
Yeah, it's an exciting area. So you are the president-elect for PATS.
I am, yes. Yes, my first year.
Tell us about that.
Yeah, so I'm incredibly fortunate to be in this role. I've been involved in PATS in some capacity since I was a junior in undergrad, maybe a sophomore. So it's been a while. I love the organization. I love the people in the organization. It's just a great place to be. So I am in my first year of a 6-year term.
Oh, wow. That's a big commitment.
It is. A lot went into thinking about that. It was really important that I talked to friends and family, about that before I really dove into it. It's 2 years as president-elect, 2 years as president, and then 2 years as past president. So it is a big commitment, but I think it's important, right? I think that being able to have someone who sat in the chair that you're sitting in, be there for you in an official capacity to answer questions, give advice, remind you of things. I've been involved in PATS for a long time. The learning curve is huge when you step into a position like this. And so having Dr. Jamie Mansell, who's our current president, and Dr. Nikki Katana, who's our past president, on the board, sitting in those meetings, it's really unbelievably helpful. So yeah, it's a great opportunity. I'm really excited for it, and I appreciate all the support that I got in terms of both running, being elected, and now getting through this. In July will complete my first year. So yeah, it's a big undertaking.
Well, it sounds like a fabulous model for succession planning and competency building.
It is, and I think it's a balancing act because it is a big commitment. And I think that there are incredibly capable members in our society that 6 years is a really intimidating thing. But I think the model is important to have at least some ability to have, right? Athletic trainers we're all going to help each other. We're all going to know each other. No one will ever stop giving it advice or be there for you. I've never had a phone call not picked up. But I think when they're actually a member of our board and they're in those meetings and they're helping build the agendas, and I get a chance to see Nikki and Jamie answer questions in those board meetings that I'm going to have to answer in a year. I think it's incredibly helpful.
So you said something that really sparked my interest. You joined when you were a college student.
Yeah. I did.
So what advice do you have to younger people?
Sure.
Who maybe hadn't put that on their radar?
Yeah, and it wasn't on my radar, right? I'll be super honest about that. It was not on my radar as a sophomore or junior, but a lot of my professors from my education program, I went to Lock Haven University. A lot of my professors were heavily involved in PATS at the time. Dr. Vet Ingram, who is here with us this weekend, she was and is a huge mentor of mine. And I don't remember exactly what position, but she was in one of the president roles when I was a student. And so there really was that, it's called voluntold. Right? You're a student, you get a little voluntold, and it was just showing up to convention. It was helping out. It was making sure speakers were set up or moderating a session. Low stakes, but the number of people that you started to meet and the professional connections you made and the social aspect of it was incredibly important. And I love it. It's such a unique opportunity to have some socialization, education, just even the conversations that happen in the hallway. Convention is always such a really exciting time. So my advice for younger individuals is you don't know what you don't know. And so being able to just spend a year and get involved a little bit and be clear, I want to get involved, but I want to see what this is like first. I don't need to be a name position. Help moderate a session. Help, take speakers to the room or, have them set up. Offer to see if there's an opportunity like a lab where you can help with and just kind of see if this is for you. But I think most students, when they realize what this weekend is all about, I think would jump in with both feet.
What a fabulous networking opportunity, right?
Amazing.
Fabulous.
Amazing. It's amazing. And I will say that after a while, it feels less like networking and more just kind of like reunion, almost where you get here and you see individuals that, I actually spoke to an athletic trainer upstairs that I met when I was junior in my undergrad, and I just happened to meet him once, and he was incredibly nice and kind and gave me some good advice, and I got a chance to, almost 20 years later, thank him, and it's such a great opportunity. I love it. And I think that younger people entering the profession or just getting started in the profession would benefit from it. And also, I think there's a little component of it that, you are giving up some of your time in order to do it. And you want to make sure that return for you, right, as we all try to balance work and life and everything else that we have going on, I think it is beneficial, but you have to experience it.
All right, so you mentioned something, work-life balance. What else do you do besides being the president-elect?
Well, I will say, because convention is this weekend, not much in the last few weeks. Yeah. It's convention is a heavy lift, and that is part of what the president-elect is responsible for. And I take that really seriously with how much I enjoy it as well. So professionally, I'm assistant professor at Temple University, and I run our anatomy and physiology program, human anatomy and physiology program, which is
a very challenging topic. Memorize it.
But it's fun. It's so much fun. Professionally, I work at Temple University, and more interpersonally, I live right outside of Philadelphia in southern New Jersey. I have two kids. I have a soon-to-be 13-year-old and a 7-year-old, and they occupy a lot of my time. But other than that, you need something to break you out of what you do for work. And I really enjoy PATS, but PATS is also something that helps me with my work. I'm an athletic trainer. And so, I try to take some opportunities to poke around in our garden a little bit. And, I really enjoy doing some things around the house. And so I try to break it up a little bit, get away from anatomy and physiology and athletic training. And I'll spend some time with some zucchini or tomato plants or something like that. But it's important, I think, to have something, even though I don't feel like I get as much time with that as I would like.
Nice, nice. You know what? The world is always connected more than we think. So I did my
absolutely.
master's in sports science and sports psych at Lock
Awesome.
Haven.
Okay, there
Had
we
to
are.
go back to school this past year.
Okay.
And Dr.
Love it.
Egram had to approve me as a non-traditional student.
There it is. There it is. Yeah,
So-
a lot of my research was on student success when I did my doctorate at Temple, and I also took some of Dr. Ingram's sports psych. I did a minor in sports psychology at Lock Haven, and apart from just athletic training and Yvette being an amazing mentor, I mean, it also kind of opened my eyes to the wholeness of the athlete. Beyond what I was learning physically, getting a chance to talk a little bit about, student athlete identity and injury. It was blowing, to use, a more colloquial term.
Yeah, yeah. Right. When an athlete gets injured, it's significant.
Yeah.
It's significant.
Yeah, in a lot of ways. And I see some of that in the classroom too. At Temple, we have a really large anatomy and physiology class. We're around 700 in our class. Students' identities are rocked that first year of college, and it's not injury related. But there's through lines. And there's important things to be able to know in order to open your ears and listen a little bit.
Yeah, right. So important to recognize the total individual.
Yeah, absolutely.
So absolutely my honor to spend time with you. Thank
My
you for
pleasure.
sharing
Thank
your
you so much. This
expertise.
was great.
And I know we got to get you back to the conference.
Time to get back to work, right?
Yeah,
Awesome.
so thank you.